you get to a point where, all right, jail is jail. So I don't like showering with dicks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I love women. You know what I'm saying? So we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah,
So it's like I got to a point where like, all right, I'm tired of going in and out of jail, and the dope game is getting sour. Everybody's snitching.
Yeah.
The law, the feds, the laws, everybody cracking down on all this money because it's a recession. And if all the businesses and everybody's gonna lose, you think they're gonna let all the dudes in the streets win? No.
Yeah.
So I moved here.
I'm gonna start it like this. Shantae, how good does it feel to be back? It's been a while.
This is amazing, bro. I missed you.
We back. I miss you more. 2026. Yes. Party Hills podcast, our first episode back. And I was talking to Shantae and I was like, if we're gonna bring a guest in, we're gonna bring in not just any guest.
Yeah.
A guest who's gonna start the year with a bang, right? And talking about the party, the gifts you bring into the world, and the hills, the obstacles you gotta climb to bring those gifts. This guest, it wasn't just any hills. It was like Runyon Canyon, Appalachian Mountains. And it wasn't just any party. It was Clint Eastwood, Tax Collector movie.
Come on now.
He's been in many movies. He's a music artist. He is actually the founder of an acting school now.
Come on now.
And overall, this next guest, he, to me, at least, talking to him, is a soldier of life. Just fighting through everything, winning battles.
Yeah.
And that guest is my man, Lee Coc.
Hey.
Lee Coc, welcome to the Party Hills podcast.
Hey, I feel like a fighter, man. Like I'm about to go in the ring, man. Thank you for that.
I was hoping Shantae was going to beatbox the Rocky music.
That's right,
in that intro.
Well, I don't know if they're going to copyright.
Yeah.
You got to make a different version.
So Lee Coc, man, when I was doing the intro, you've been in so many movies.
Yes,
I couldn't
sir.
remember them all. But, the Clint Eastwood, of course.
Right.
So I'm going to leave it to you. Tell us more about some of the films you were in.
So, yes, The Mule with Clint Eastwood, The Tax Collector with Shia LaBeouf, Seventh and Union with Omar Chaparro, he's a huge, probably like the Brad Pitt of Mexico, a huge Mexican actor. Shout out to my guy. Night Teeth with Debbie Ryan, Lucy Fry, Megan Fox, Alfie Allen.
Damn.
And so many, a lot of TV shows. Let's see, SWAT, the first 2 seasons of Barry on HBO, the first season of Rookie, The Deputy. Too Old to, let me see, a few other ones. Too Old to Die Young with Miles Teller. What else? I don't know. We've done a few.
I'm sitting here going, are you opening up a management?
No, yeah. It's
How?
been all right.
She ready.
Right.
Yeah.
We were going to bust out the popcorn.
For sure, man. Dang. That is amazing.
Thank you.
And the reason why I wanted you to list all those films, this is the most amazing part of this all, Shantae, and everybody listening. Lee Coc did not start as an actor.
Yeah.
He started as a musician. Yeah. And we've seen this happen with very few instances where you have success in both. Lee Coc's doing it. So tell us about the start, man. Tell us about the first time you picked up a mic.
Oh, man, the first time I picked up a mic, I used to DJ. When I was living in Phoenix, I had some turntables. I picked up some turntables, and I would slow music down. I'm from Houston, so big DJ Screw fan. Knew Screw, RIP to Screw, and Pat and Hawk and some of the brothers that passed away from the Screw House. And so I started DJing. And I would slow music down, and I would call it, instead of, because we couldn't, people say, oh, it's chopped and screwed, but where we from, you can't call it screwed unless DJ Screw did it, right? So I came up with my own twist, my name being Lee Coc, so I called it Leaned Out. So it was like leaned out, when we was leaning it out, slowing it down. And so I would, every now and then, I would kind of dump a freestyle in between when I was switching records on part of an instrumental. And so when I came to Houston, I moved back from Phoenix to Houston. I was around a lot of studios. I was always hustling in the streets, and I was a hype man for a friend of mine called, his name, at the time his name was The Honorable. He's now, he's a pastor, Paul Taylor. He just released a new album. You got to look him up, Paul Terrence Taylor. His newest album is amazing. He does Christian music now, but he's from Gary, Indiana. He's from the streets with it. Yeah. So he was on there putting the streets on beats, and I was his hype man. But I was in the streets at this time, moving heavy, but I was also preaching about our diets and like come out with this revolutionary movement about what we're eating and pork in the toothpaste. And this was before there was a YouTube and all this to Google and check out, and talking about what people like to say the term Illuminati or whatever, but all this different control with, programming and how we eat and vaccines and all these different things. And so my homie was like, look, man, you hype people, the crowds up. You got a cool voice. the stuff that you talk about, you should start putting it on records and start making songs with this kind of like this revolutionary, this political.
You had the conscious rap.
Yeah. So that's how I originally started, was
Fire.
really deep on the conscious rap, like that, on that
That's
level.
fire.
Yeah.
What was this time? Like what year?
This was 2005, 2006. Yeah.
Now, and I asked that because conscious rapping was dope, and I'm not saying it's still not dope, but it was more acceptable in like the 90s,
Yep.
80s kind of thing. So that's crazy to come into 2000 with that mentality. Was that a struggle because people were getting more into the
What's crazy
ain't
is
nothing but a hoochie.
right. So let me tell you, for me, because the way I look, and I would show up to my concerts with 20, 30 people, because I was heavy in the streets making money.
Yeah.
And so I had a movement. I had a team of people. We moved. I had a militant movement coming out of the Marine Corps. The way I was moving in the streets, and we was all dressed in black. So I would come out with all these gangsters, all these street. We're pulling up in Cadillacs, 15 deep. Everybody's in Cadillacs, swinging, pulling up in unity. We swinging down the block, and we're all in black. And I get on stage, and I come in with like a Jimi Hendrix intro, right?
Yeah.
Purple Haze. And then I'll bang into my set, and I'm starting to talk about crazy stuff.
Yeah.
They killed the Kennedys and murdered the king. They got John Lennon for the same damn thing. Malcolm was shot like they got Tupac. Lee Harvey Oswald never got a chance to talk. He never had a lawyer. That's funny to me. Right before he spoke, they killed him on TV. And so I was doing stuff like that, and they were like, "Damn, this dude's looking like that."
This podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
Nothing you hear, we are liable for. We hope you're having a nice day without us.
So I'm on stage spitting stuff like that, and then coming in with like even a Christian record where I'm talking about, the devil beating down, all these crazy things. And then I go into this movement. So it was shocking, and people were feeling it because they were expecting something else when I'm on stage.
Yeah.
And literally, like, I got a crew of people, everybody's strapped, and so to hear that coming out with dudes that's like this, dressed like this, cars like this, with money, it really shocked people. And at the time, I remember Dead Prez had the RBG album. So I was pumping that everywhere, and then I linked up with M1.
Wow.
He moved to Houston. Everybody knew I was a Dead Prez fan. I was buying CDs, giving it to people, like, this the music y'all got to hear, because that's where I was in my life, right? And then I ended up getting a phone call one day. Prodigy hit me like, "Yo, M1 has moved to Houston. He needs a studio to record at. Boom, let's meet." And so, take him to your studio. I was recording at It's now called, so it used to be called it's now called MediaTek, but it was Sunrise back in the day, which is a shout out to my guy Skip that owns it. It's a huge school now in Houston, kind of like Full Sail, but it's a really good studio. And I met my two producers and engineers at the time, Moon Rock Entertainment, which was Oscar Blanco and Mondo, believed in my music and took me to the studio because I was recording at Music World for a little bit. That's how I met Oscar, was Beyonce's father's studio. Cool. And so I got into MediaTek.
Who is this guy?
Right.
Hey, I got into MediaTek, and then so I got M1 to MediaTek, and me and M1 hit it off, and the movement, it rest is history. Yeah.
That's a great story.
It's been a blessing.
Yeah.
That's God.
And the crazy, it is God, because I always said this. I love when people go by codes, right? I don't care, what you gotta take care of or hustle modes and stuff like that. But if you're living by a code,
right.
That's one of the beautiful things about organized, communities. But was you always like that? Like, and I say that to come out with conscious rap.
Yeah.
Was you in that movement throughout your whole life, or?
Listen, I was a regular street kid, but throughout my whole life, I was very educated because my mother, I was raised by a single mother, and when I would get in trouble, of course, I used to get my butt tore up. I don't know if I can curse or not, but I used to get whoopings.
Yeah.
But the whoopings got to the point where they didn't really faze me, right? And so my mama would do stuff like, okay, get this encyclopedia, and you're going to read all this right here, and you're going to read this. I'm going to get a New York Times. I'm going to bring it home. You're going to read this, and you're going to write summaries of these things. And and these summaries got to be this many words, and you can't count the words like and so I was educating myself. So
wow.
And it was because of my mom. My mom's whole thing was, my mom had 3 rules. make good grades, don't smoke crack, and don't catch AIDS. Those are my. I grew up in the '80s, so
Those
I'm
are great
79,
rules.
right? 3 rules my mama always taught me, and I never did those 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had to. I mean, I listened to those rules. Is what I mean. I made good grades, and so my mama was very strict about grades,
Yeah.
and so that was important. So as I would learn things, I would question things. I was a kid in school, like, okay, but so why are we thankful for these pilgrims who tricked all these Indians and brought them here to eat? And why is this? And so these were the things that it would cause, disruption in class, but it made me always want to grow. I never believed the moon landing since I was a child. There was a lot of different things that didn't make sense to me, and so I would question these things. And yeah, I got in trouble, but it also got me to where I'm at.
Yeah.
I ain't boo with a fool. You can't just.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna believe anything you tell me. You know what I'm saying?
It was good.
Even if I act like I do, I'll be like, all right.
Yeah. These niggas been on the moon. Right.
That's what got me to that part of. When I was in the Marine Corps, I started to study different religions. I started to learn about I became a vegan for a long time in my life. How we eat, it led me into studying other things, and so it started making me more conscious. You pay attention to the world affairs and why we're at combat and what's going on here and what is really behind and why this land has oil, this land has gold. Why are we moving these people? Let's put these people here so this people can seem bad. Then we can come in and save the day. But at the end of the day, we really saving the day because there's other money here or people aren't taking our dollar bills. And, why is this happening? And so it just started, it led me to it and I wanted to educate people. So when I first came out with music and started doing music, that's all I was really spitting on at first before I started spitting about my life and being in the streets.
Yeah.
And I did that as more of back in the day when I was coming up, one thing I learned from M and Stick is M would tell me, look, if you go too hard like this, they blackball you in the industry, right? Dead Prez went through it. You see Dead Prez, 2 of the great, M and Stick, 2 of the greatest to ever spit. But there's no big machine behind them because of what they talk about.
Yeah.
And I remember M telling me we put Jay-Z on that last album so Sony was ready to let us go. But then I got Hove on the song. He put Hove on the record. And it was like Sony had to hold on to that last album, but because nobody wants people that's going to enlighten the masses. They don't want that. What happens to all the great artists? Bob Marley, Tupac, people that can make a big difference in the world, something always happens to them, right? Whether they're actors, whether they're musicians. So there was a point where they sat me down, and M especially was like, look, you got more to offer, and you getting in this thing, and there's other stuff. Give them some of this. That way they don't, because if you give them too much of that, they're going to know, and you're not going to get, look at Jay-Z now. So listen, I love Jay-Z. People can say all this. Hey, I love Beyonce, Jay-Z. I know both. Well, I know Beyonce more than I know Jay-Z, but I know what they do for the community, what they do for the world, right? People see anything on the internet and run with it. But he used to talk about nothing but dope dealing music, right? And look where he got with it. And now where he's at, listen to him on a Jay Electronica record. When he's talking about God and purchasing property and I should have did this. And so he got to where he was by doing, okay, I'm gonna play this guy. He comes from a very smart movement of people, right? His mother, his father, even though his father was on drugs, they come from a Black Panther, a movement too, not just like Tupac. Yeah. So he comes from a family of revolutionary. And so look, he was a very smart dude who capitalized on hip hop, used this movement to act like I'm just a sucker making dope dealing music, made billions of dollars, married the baddest chick in the game, right? That right there, that combo, right? And so now look at the music that he talks about.
Yeah.
And he does a lot. They do a lot of charity work and a lot of stuff that they won't allow people to make. I don't want no articles done on this. I don't want pictures done of this. They do stuff all over the world in Africa, and so you can't get there just bucking the system. He played it very smart, and look where he's at now.
That's real. That's real. If you give him back to the community and all that stuff, and that's why I love people. I feel like that, and even trying to build my voice. Yeah. There's always a certain level. Let me get here, and then I'll be able to spread, the things that I want, and I still do that.
Right.
And as I'm growing in my career, but it is that switch because you'll be shut down, and I always say, it depends on what level of success you want. Do you want to be famous? Do you want to be an artist Do you want, there's different levels because you could be independent. I know people who are independent that sell out those shows and they don't have to give to these
Russ.
higher ups.
Look at Russ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at Russ.
Yeah. You know, I'm kind of, in my artistry, I'm kind of circling back to purpose and intent because it happens to us all. You get in the game, you see a connection to a label or someone who really matters in the industry, and you're now trying to make like a pop sound or what's out there. But you don't have, and I'm explaining this to a lot of artists I'm working with now, you don't have the same machine behind you that they have.
Yeah.
So cool, you could make a pop sounding song that maybe isn't, and I love pop music, but I'm just saying, trying to just mimic and make something that's not true to you, you could put that out, but you don't have the machine behind you.
Yeah.
So what just happens? You lost on the charts because you're gonna miss, but you also lost in your purpose. So it's like you're taking 2 L's.
Yeah.
And I look back at my earlier career when I had motion. I started in a similar, arena as Lee Coc, more conscious rap, battle rap, and all that. And I had an organic local movement. Then all of a sudden, I get signed to a label, and they're like, "We want you to make pop music."
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm doing stuff I'm not even feeling.
Yeah.
And it's not resonating with me, and it's taking me further and further away from my message. My latest message now with like this podcast, Party Hills Music, is just authenticity, being true to yourself, independent movements where you could be a free thinker. You could share your talents in the way that they're given to you, not molded for someone else's formula, and still be valid and still have some motion.
Yeah.
And that's so important what you're saying. And it's funny how many people, they get to the top, once they're in the machine, and they make you believe that's their story, that's what they're sticking to, but they're already evolved past those stories.
Yeah.
They're sending down the wrong message.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, I look at Jay-Z now and I'm like, he got the Basquiat hair, he collecting paintings, just the like chillness of where it's at. And
Generational wealth.
Generational
Come
wealth.
from the Mossy Project.
But what I loved about, sorry, because I just want to clarify this, because what I loved about Jay is I still believed him all along.
Yeah.
He was that authentic, and he was like super talented. And although he's evolved in thought and his song material, what I liked about him is you're digesting Jay-Z.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not digesting some plant. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. And different stages of his life.
Yeah.
We grew up with him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you saw, I mean, that's a lot of people's stories. You grow up, you think the streets are good, or, you chasing these chicks and blah, blah, blah. And then you get older, have a family, like there's just levels to it. But I just think it's amazing. We were talking before we started rolling these cameras, and there's so many things to bring up in the ass. So I'm trying to like hold back a little bit to build up to it.
Yeah.
Damn.
There's a lot. Let's switch into this because we got into some of your party.
Yeah.
Let's get into the hills, man. So Lee Coc, you're no stranger to struggle.
Right.
Hollywood didn't happen overnight for you.
No.
So what was the process before getting here?
Man, I come from the streets, right? And just because I don't, I ain't got my lawyer here, and I don't want to put myself in a situation where but I come from a life of making fast money and making decisions. Because my mom did all these things, I was smart enough. I had good PSAT scores, SAT scores, right? I had great. So I went in the Marine Corps. I had great ASVAB scores where I could have chose all these other fields, and for me, I didn't see past my environment, who my father was. Other than my father was, was a drug dealer and then when crack came out, it's people he fell victim of that. So even while my father was a crackhead, which I didn't grow up with him after my mom finally walked away from that, he always hustled. My family was full of hustlers, right? Yeah. And so I always saw myself as a hustler. Like, I'm a hustler, I'm gonna be the biggest, and then I'm gonna take this money and invest in the community. And so I come from just that movement, right? Of I would say a dope boy movement. You know what I'm saying? Whipping work. And I never did drugs like that, right? I was a weed smoker. So for me, I was a hustler. We come from Houston. Houston, they call it Hustle Town, right? It's a hustler's paradise. That's kind of like Cali gangbangs. We hustle. That's our thing down there. Like, drug dealing is all over the world. Hustling is all over the world. But we specialize in how we dress, how we talk, what we do, what our daily is. You know what I'm saying? We don't gang bang because then it narrows it down. So I can't hustle to these dudes because I'm affiliated with these dudes. I got to be able to get everybody's money.
Yeah.
That's the way we think, right?
Yeah.
And so I come from that movement, and music. I was led to music, and then I was like, the streets was closing up on me. It started like around the time, y'all remember when the recession was big? Mm-hmm. So the last people with money, when all these huge businessmen were committing suicide, and man, it's sad. I'm not saying this when people were losing everything, and these white dudes, the last people with money were drug dealers before they locked up the borders. And I saw it all coming. So we hung on to, we started, you know what I'm saying? We hoarding all this. So then that's when that shit shuts down. But the streets started changing because they started glorifying in the late 90s and early 2000s, they glorified people who were snitching. Mm. You saw Nino Brown in New Jack City. He the biggest drug dealer at the end. He turns in everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Frank Lucas, right? Yeah, he didn't snitch, but he snitched. He turned in laws, all these movies. So it was a movement of kids starting to do that. And people, they came up with these Hug a Thug programs, 3 for 1. Give me 3 names, and we're going to let you walk. Yeah, we got you. You know what I'm saying? And so with the streets, and I come from that old school where, my family and people I've been around and the people I was influenced by and was taught, this was where the term snitches get stitches, like they kill you for that.
Yeah.
So as everything's now is on camera, everybody's got phones, so people know these things, right? People get brave when all they can do is call the laws, right? And they, and so all these rappers, look at all the rappers out there now, they all snitches, right? So I saw that closing up. I had my little girl. After having my last 2 sons, my youngest sons, I was already trying to backpedal and figure out a way to get out of that and change my life. The music was a way where I could travel, I could get out of and make some money. So I moved to LA and I got, caught up with some shit where there was a bunch of money involved, but that's all. And then they came and found more money when they came, and they thought that was, so my lawyer, who was my friend at the time as well, he's my friend because I spent a lot of money with him. Yeah, but we became good friends, right? He was a great guy. He said, look, man, you were going to LA. I was coming out here messing around a little bit, getting in some studios. My partner, Jeremy, a dude that I grew up with from Houston since we were like 9 years old. He's from here, moved to Houston, moved back. He was back out here. They was like, look, you got a little something with this music, so let's transition and get you out of the streets. And I wanted to be around for my youngest kids because I wasn't there for my older one. And so, you get to a point where, all right, jail is jail. So I don't like showering with dicks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I love women. You know what I'm saying? So we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah,
so it's like I got to a point where, like, all right, I'm tired of going in and out of jail, and the dope game is getting sour. Everybody's snitching.
Yeah.
The law, the feds, the laws, everybody cracking down on all this money because it's a recession. And if all the businesses and everybody's gonna lose, you think they're gonna let all the dudes in the streets win? No.
Yeah.
So I moved here. And I was just all with just a couple of dollars. I had some shit happen. I had to pay this off, do this. So people were straight when I left, and I moved here, and I changed mine. I never looked back. And then, and then, from the music, I didn't think, I was like, okay, LA is cool. That'd be cool to be an actor, but it wasn't in my plans. I was going balls to the wall with the music, rapping, doing shows all over, selling my CDs on Hollywood Boulevard. You know what I'm saying? Right. Going crazy, printing them up, buying blanks from Staples, inkjet printer, printing my own labels, making mixtapes in 3 or 4 days, going out and hustling them.
That's
you know
Hustle
what I mean?
Town.
Yeah.
He brought the Hustle Town to LA.
Yeah. And so it was my music, because you got dudes that sell CDs all over Hollywood. That's their hustle, but some of them be blank. It don't be. I was coming out with a tape deck with weed. Look, y'all check this out with a Bluetooth speaker. You know what I'm saying? And look, check this out. I'm from Houston. I talk different because the essays out here different. I'm Mexican. I speak Spanish, but the essays be like, bro, are you black? And the brothers be like, man, you sound like one of us, And then my music was different, so all that kind of, my style was a little different because I had that H-Town swag. Yeah. And so all that was working for me, and I mind all the politics out here. I know, look, I can take care of myself.
Yeah.
Everybody who knows me, any situation, prison, jail, war, whatever it is, I'm always going to be all right. But I don't carry myself like I got some chip on my shoulder that I can't mind the politics in California. They don't play out here. Killer Cali, LA, I respect all that. So I move with a certain with the humbleness. I'm here, but I
Yeah.
ain't with the bullshit. But I'm here, and I respect it, and Cali's been good to me. LA's been good to me.
What was it like navigating through the politics in prison, especially in LA?
LA County is vicious. Hey, even going to prison out here, right? LA County was like, they was like, oh, you came from LA County? Like, but me coming in, because I'm affiliated with some whole other stuff in Texas. And out here, listen, I got big love for the Sureños. I got homies that are affiliated. And I met some of the, I won't get into all that because I don't want to put, but they was like, man, they called me Marine. That was a nickname they gave me when I was out here. When I got to the county, they started calling me Marine. Right, and so they was like, Marine, we got you, man. Man, I'm not rolling with y'all, man. And then even in prison, the brothers was like, man, you sound like one of us, man. You good over here? Like, man, I ain't doing that either, man. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was man, but you know what I did? Lord, use me.
Yeah.
Lord, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, my hands are trained for war. They ready for battle, right? At any given moment. But let me do something positive while I'm in here. And I picked up that word. I picked up my sword. I got closer to my creator and a relationship with the Lord like I never had.
Amen.
But I was with it. But and I started, I did things in there. I was doing Bible studies, uniting races and doing prayer calls. And it was almost and it causes some heat, man, because you can't. I was lucky that the Lord got me through that because they don't play out here, man. And I knew it. And look, I ain't scared of none of that. But I didn't want to get involved with something. I'm from Houston. I'm from Houston. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I wanted to make it out to my children. Once I figured out I had action and I wasn't gonna do life, I was facing life, 25 to life. I had a murder, 1st-degree murder was my original charge. So once I got action, that's when I calmed down a little bit because I went in there a little bit. What it do then?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And now look, I'm this, I'm that, I ain't that. I respect what y'all got going on, but I'm gonna try to stay out the way, and it's very hard to do that. If you're on the main line in LA County.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do that on the main line. They don't play. And I respect them. And they doing what they can for our people. I got mad love for them dudes, man.
Yeah.
But I'm on a different side of life, and I'm 40. I mean, I was in my 40s. I was 41 getting back locked up.
Yeah.
This ain't like I was 20. You know what I'm saying? I'm 41 facing a murder beef. I had just booked a series reg on a show on Hulu, ABC. I was gonna make 300 bands just on that show. I had a lot going on.
Yeah.
And they held me. The show got picked up. We found out the show got picked up in July, and my crime happened the same day I found out my show got picked up. We shot the what are they called? The pilot in May. No, was it February? No, where is it? January, February, March. We shot the pilot in March.
Yeah.
COVID was going on. We was doing mad tests before. It gets picked up, I think, in June or July. I find out July. I had other things going on, a couple of big things going on. And so, the world was changing for me. I was booking a lot. And then all this happens and you fall and you go to prison. And at the time, here's what you got to remember. For me, being 41 years old, I had just spent from 2014 to 2021 when I got locked up. I spent those 7 years breaking down all these masks, breaking down the way I've been taught to live in life because I had to be emotionally available to all these things to become a good actor and be good at my craft. I don't do this for money. If it was just about money for me, I would have quit a long time ago. I could sell dope and get money. Yeah. I could do other things and get money, whether it's bad or not. If it was just about money, I don't do it to become famous.
Yeah,
I'm hardly on my social media. I got 140 some thousand followers, 150,000. I'm hardly on it. I don't care about any of that. I do it because I love art and I want to be the best at what I do. Acting was a lane for me that I never saw once I got in it and I figured it out. This is something that I really love. I'm passionate about it, and I want to be the best.
From Houston are thorough.
Yeah, I want to be the best.
But I want to know what was, because bringing that up. What was that transition like? How did you go from that from music and stuff to acting?
So I'll tell you that, and let me just circle back to this moment where I'm saying going to prison, now being emotionally available to feelings and things that I didn't ever know existed because I spent 7 years of taking emotional preparation classes over and over again, master classes, all these acting classes where, look, I'm a weed smoker.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm gonna audition, if I'm gonna act, if I'm going to acting class, if I'm gonna read, I don't smoke any weed, right? Because I can't numb any. I gotta be It's my job to hold that mirror up to side and reflect and do the due diligence to the writer and the director to be that character. If I'm stoned, I'm not gonna react the same way as because I'm it's gonna numb me, right? These
Yeah.
feelings. So I got really serious about doing that. So then I go to jail fighting a murder case. My kids need me. This dude tries to hurt my daughter, right? And my kids are going. So and I losing all. I fall from grace. All this money in the bank, all these roles I'm booking. This big role, $33,000 contract for 11 episodes plus press runs and all this
Yeah.
money. And so I lose all that and I go to prison. And they hold on. It wasn't until October I called my agent one day, no, my acting coach to check in because I didn't like to make a lot of phone calls. I hate the phone in there. It's a stress box. I stay focused, right? And so they said, look, man, they got to recast you. My bail was $5.2 million. We thought a couple times Usher was going to bail me out. He's a good friend of mine. Shout out to my guy. But we didn't want bad press. I didn't want my press. I didn't want anything I had. He had other stuff going on. He's, that's Usher. And he had just got the stuff going on with the thing in Vegas, the residency. And so there was people that had my back. But at the end of the day, I had to do that on my own. I was like, you know what? They already helped me with the lawyer situation and all that. But my agent says, look, hey, they recasting you. They held on as long as they could. They got to go on with the show. They start shooting the show, and the first episode of the show drops, and I'm locked up on my birthday. So that would have been my biggest show, my biggest moment, and that actual TV show dropped on my birthday in 2022. Yeah, so for me to sit in prison while my kids were going through a lot, my ex-wife, bless her heart, I won't say nothing bad about her, but she was going through a lot, and she was putting them through a lot, and your friends, my money's getting used up, you know what I'm saying? And all these things are happening. And so you see who's really there for you. So to go through all that, being emotionally available, and then we'll go right back to what you were saying. I just wanted to make, that's different in at 41.
Yeah.
Facing a murder.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot to go through. So to navigate through them walls out here ain't no joke.
Yeah.
You got to be on your grind. And you got to be on your, so that was all the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Keeping me from going crazy. Man. And he been snapping in there because the couple incidents I had where I went to the hole and things happened could have went way worse if I didn't catch my snap.
You was talking about emotional training right before you went in.
Yeah.
And I like to believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Would you say that prison was the best emotional training you've ever had?
I would say definitely one of them. It's one of those moments for me because I fought back. I've never been a crier, right? I don't cry. But I fought back a lot of tears hearing the pain in my children's voice and how much they needed their father. So that for me in there, because you show any weakness in that, and I'm not in nobody's car. Meaning if there's ever a riot that goes down, I'm on my own.
Yeah.
So people watch you. And there's people that wake up in a bad day and look, you're a target. Because look, I know I can smash on this dude right here and nobody going to come jump me, you know what I'm saying, because he's on his own. But also people knew I was with it too.
Yeah.
Right? And then it could still cause problems. Even if I don't run with nobody and somebody from another race comes and does something to me out of nowhere, it's still going to look bad, right?
Yeah.
So then you even put the people for the, because they're like, man, you ain't running with us. But at the end of the day, we kind of have to have your back. So it's a lot of tension. And so at any given moment, you got to be, because look, I don't like to use this word, but I can be pretty vicious.
Yeah.
So, but being emotionally available now to all these things and breaking all these masks and it's hard as men, we got to walk, I'm an alpha male.
Yeah.
And you'll never hear me say that. You'll see that. I'll tell you that more. I'm only saying that to for this one moment to describe how being like that. And then as an actor now, where I can watch a movie now and I'll cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm emotionally available and I'm connected to these situations. Never in my life was I like that. Now, as an actor, because I spent 7 years breaking these walls down to be the best. At 41, your mind changed. That's when I got locked up at 41. So it's not like when I was locked up in my 20s or in my teens even, or, even in my early 30s, you're at a different point of your life. You feel, now I got these 3 kids that I've been there for through the births, through everything. They're there. I'm their hero. I'm their everything. I left them hanging. I'm never going to ever leave. I told my daughter, I'll never leave your side. I'll always be here. Here I go to protect her from something real bad. I left her. You see what I'm saying? So,
but that's still even though that's a memory, and I speak from experience, that it's a memory that you never forget, and you'll appreciate that more when you get older.
He
you
never
know.
got to her.
No.
Yeah, I saved her.
But
That's what I'm saying. Like,
in general,
hopefully, yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
And I would have gave my life
we
up
ain't
for
gonna
her.
go. Yeah, we won't go too much. But in general, the thought of having somebody being there to want to protect you,
Yeah.
is a very strong motion, and
For
you know
sure.
that
Yeah.
more growing up.
Yep.
What I love. I feel like today in general, I've been getting a lot of being in conversation that's speaking to my heart and my soul directly. And I'm 43 now, and I feel like my life has just begun.
That's right.
Dealing with addiction and so many different things, and you know, it's funny because my higher power, when I'm messing up, it's like we're gonna put you in a corner.
Yeah.
And it feels like my life can go down, but the minute I start getting back on track, you like, I know people are watching going, how the hell is she still getting opportunities? How is she on tour? And but I love this. It's brought so much confidence, so much. I just love where I'm at now. And I used to sit here and think about, damn, I should have did this in my 20s, and I should have did this in my 30s and stuff like that. So I say all that stuff to be like, you going to jail at this point in your life, and possibly facing a lifetime sentence. The fact that all this stuff opened up for you still is phenomenal.
That's
And the fact that you, absolutely, and the fact that you didn't let it break you.
Can't. I got kids that's watching me.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, listen, this is nothing compared to, I don't mean to, sometimes this gets touchy for people, but look, I'm a Christian, right? I respect all religions. But there's men in the Bible way greater than me that's been through way worse. So who am I to ever curse God or turn my back on God? Because he was with me through all the good times. Now I lost everything. I fell from grace. I was at a point in my life where I was living good without selling dope.
Yeah.
My life was getting better and better. I had issues in my marriage, but even, you know, I had the money to be able to try to fix these things. And I had, you know, I was setting my kids up. I lost everything.
Wow.
And I never cursed God. I looked at it like this. Look, I was a heavy cigarette smoker for 30 years, since I was like 11 years old. It got me to quit cigarettes for 4 years.
Yeah.
I saved my daughter. Look, no disrespect to my ex-wife. She does a lot of stuff to me. I'm not going to touch on that. But it got me out of that relationship finally. Mm-hmm. Look, I wasn't good for her. She wasn't good for me. That's all I say. I'm not going to sit here and say, so we had some great children. We had great times. I feel like hopefully one day she'll flourish more than because I think that there's still a grudge there. But there was a lot of positive that came out of that. And the most important out of all of that is the Lord used me to spread his message in jail and prison. That's Look, crazy. I ain't a perfect person.
It's incredible.
I don't try to act like I'm this Christian who doesn't do wrong. I make a lot of mistakes. But at that time when I was in jail and prison, he used me like I never ever thought he would use me. And he allowed me to have these studies and bring men together and bring them to him. So that if I don't do nothing else in life, that's what I'm supposed to do as a Christian. I did his work in there while I was locked up for like 3 years, man. So to me, if I don't do nothing else and I suffer for the rest of my life, thank you, Lord, for that suffering. Thank you for all that. Thank you for using me and making me realize my purpose. You know what I mean?
It's facing the hills. He faced the hills. He climbed them.
Yeah, man. And and the stuff. Oh man.
It's incredible. You know, I asked you earlier in this interview, what was your first moment where you picked up a mic? And now I'm equally curious about the first moment you picked up the Bible in that prison.
Yeah.
So this is the craziest story. I have only told this story to my girlfriend right now. Shout out to her. And I've only told this story to her because it sounds crazy. Because you got to remember, like, I don't do all these drugs. I smoke weed, right? Mm-hmm. And so I went to jail. So I went to the towers first, and then that first night when you get through of all your, you know, you go through, they get you, it's basically like you checking in. You know what I'm saying? You go through all of that, right? I get to the first. I was only there one night before I got shipped to Supermax Wayside. I got to the first dorm, and you go straight in there, and you got the blacks on one side, you got excuse me, a few whites over here and the Mexicans on this side, and you know, what you running, homie or paisa? That's what they ask you, because that's the way you look. And before I could really say too much, they were like, come on, just come over here. And I'm like, man, I don't run none of that. I'm from H-Town, you know. And that already, everybody's looking at me like, well, go hit a shower first, boom, and come back. All these dudes is around me. This one old man sees my Marine Corps tattoo. He starts talking about the military, man. And then I have all this Texas stuff and these H-Town, Houston tatted on me. Like, oh, you from Houston? Yeah. So this the way it goes down. In the middle of all that, this dude walks up to me. Craziest thing. He's a homie. He's running with the homies. And he got his shirt off because he was coming out the shower too, and he had these 2 marks on his back, right? And listen to me, this sounds so crazy. He had 2 marks on his back. And he comes up to me, he brings me a Bible. And he says, hey, this is going to keep you out of trouble right here, bro. I can tell you're a warrior for God. He said, California's a little different. You from Houston, I see all your tattoos. I want to give you this. He says, I'm a fallen angel. And he shows me his back, and he's got this place where these wings. He goes, God told me to give you this Bible and said, stay in his word, and you're going to be all right. Stay out the way. You don't want to get involved with these politics in California, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know what your crime is, but I feel like you can make it out. And if you get involved with this, you probably ain't gonna make it out. So he told me to give. I have that Bible to this day. That was my sword. That Bible. I have it to this day.
I love it.
And I ended up getting a John MacArthur study Bible and all that. And so that was the first dude that gave me a Bible. But when I was going through my crime, when they finally arrested me 2 days after everything happened, and I was being charged with murder, and I was going through my process and in Hollywood, this sheriff in there walks up to me and gives me a piece of a Bible. And he says, look, homie, I know you facing life. He said, you're going to do maybe 2-3 years. Whatever you do, look for God to lead you into the right way. I wish I had a whole Bible. I just got this piece of this Bible. It was Psalms 140 to 147.
Wow.
And it was just a torn up piece of a Bible. So I remember reading that and seeing David calling himself to get out of this prison. When he was in the cave, you know what I'm saying, the den, the time in the lion's den.
Yeah.
And so I'm reading this, and so I get the Bible from homie the next day, and that Bible's with me right now.
Yeah.
And so that was when I got that Bible, man. And he told me it was crazy because he had marks on his back. He had marks on his back where it looked like 2 wings was. Perfect scars.
Wow.
And it's gone, these 2 scars, and there was nothing there. And he says, God told me I did some things that I wasn't supposed to do. And so I'm down here with you. But I was told to get this to you. It's gonna be all right, you know. And so the whole time I'm facing life, there was always this reassurance. It was those 2 people, and then my mother. When I finally built up enough nerve to call her, because I didn't call nobody for a couple months. Everybody's like, man, what happened? I didn't call nobody.
Wow, not one person.
Not one. I called my wife at the time for a couple of days, and then she changed her number on me and ran off with my dough, because a friend of mine was telling all this so he could try to get the dough. It was crazy. So she ran off with my kids and my dough, and I didn't call nobody.
That reminds me of the movie Casino.
That's wild.
And I stayed in there. When I finally called my mom said, my mom's very, very spiritual, and she's a Christian, and she said, I have this prayer group, and we've been praying for you, and I want to tell you, mijo, I'm still fighting 25 to life. Every time I go to court, that's all I'm hearing. She said, you're not going to do that long. You're going to do a little time, but maybe a couple of years only. And I'm facing life. I'm like, how am I going to do a couple of years? All this is on camera. You know, this is what they telling me, and I made it out of there. That was all God. Yeah, that was all God. Crazy journey.
I don't even know, like the bandwidth of this whole podcast. This was great to come back to in 2026.
We peaking right now.
It's so peaking because I think we're in a business where people's egos and stuff get in the way, and there's this mentality of failure if you're not where you think you want to be. But God is the one that's trying to guide you. You know, I look at things like, and we were talking about this before we started rolling, but I look at people who are still trying to do acting 50 years later, and all that's great in your passion, but you build up a bitterness, a resentment, and all these things, and you're trying to figure out where to go, and sometimes it's right in your face, but your ego gets in the way. and the hustle mentality, I think, I could feel the vibe and how you connected with so many big artists, but also just people in general and the things that you were able to do, because I could feel your vibes. I
Thank you.
could
Yeah.
feel your soul. And I know that you are for real connected to God. But people don't have that mentality.
Listen, man, if it got to be for me, I teach my children this. We don't got none of this without God.
Yeah.
We ain't got none of this without God. So whatever you believe in, you ain't got to, I mean, I know my purpose, and I'm just saying, like, you can't make any of it happen without him. So why would
Yeah.
you not give him the glory? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And why would you not look and why would you not know that at some point, you know, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, look, what do we do music to do what? Make somebody happy when they listen to it.
Yeah.
Right? We want to make money for our family so that they're okay and they're happy.
Yeah.
Right? When you really find God, we understand that none of that really can make you happy. Right? For a moment, you have moments, money, blah, blah, blah. But when I was in a place where I was fighting life, right? I might not ever see my kids again. I'm in the most vicious. California probably got the most vicious prison system. LA's definitely got the most vicious jail system.
Even the Lions Den.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was because of God that I found peace through all that chaos. And if at any given moment that was my last chance to be here, I want to, you know what? You know what I'm going to tell you this? You can ask anybody that I was locked up with. You know that I never said a curse word when I was locked up?
Hey, I want you to go into that because listen, I went on a curse word diet for like 18 months.
What?
Yeah, I was vegan too,
Yeah.
and I was praying, I was meditating, and I really want to get back to that because that was the most winningest 18 months of my life.
Yeah.
Things would just click for me.
Yeah.
I would see a sign of a TV show and be like, I want to be on that show. I'm not kidding. The next day, someone from that
Yeah.
show called me.
Can I say this?
There's something there, bro.
I went 12 days in there. I fasted for 12 days, straight water in jail. 12 days, straight water, on my knees, prayer fast. Had people in the whole dorm fasting, trying it. Had one brother that did it with me, my brother T. And he was a black dude, and I'm Mexican. We had a lot of tension in there because we were real tight together. We had each other's back. And so people didn't like that, right?
Yeah.
And so we went 12 days, right? And it was the next day when I went to court. And it was crazy because the first night of the fast, the dorm next to us, which was like, I was in a dorm where we were next to the trustee dorm. And they had got into a big fight, and then a bunch of them caught COVID. So they asked us to go work ODR, which ODR is the officer's dining room, because inmates serve them. They bring dudes in there. And so the first night of the fast, a lot of the sheriffs in there recognized me from TV. They would take selfies out because I was popping up in all these different shows at the time. And so they said, look, bro, you want to go work ODR? I tell this one sheriff, like, nah, I ain't going out there, bro. I ain't eating right now. I'm fasting. And they want to make sure you're not hunger striking, because if they hear that in they mind, you can get them all in trouble. Like, what? Like, yeah. The dude was like, look, well, I'm going to get you some food when they come back. He brings a plate of my first day on the fast. I went all day just water, and you ain't had no real food. It's jail food. I'm eating the worst food. He brings a plate of rotisserie chicken and salad with feta cheese and strawberries and all this food. Like, I was like, but I didn't break on the fast. So I go 12 days, prayer and fast, only water. On that 13th day, I go to my court date. And the whole time I'm in there fighting this case, 25 to life. Every time, first degree murder. My lawyer, I'll be like, you're not going to say nothing? He's like, bro, it's a process. And I would go back, hit my shower, because after you hit the courts, you're going, it's all dirty. First thing you do is you shower when you get there. And I would be in that shower, and I'm going to be honest with you, I would cry in that shower.
Yeah.
I would take my shower. I had about 2 minutes to shower. I would let it all out, like, damn, I might not ever see and then I had got back out there, so I'm cool. Nobody knows I was crying, right? But that 13th day after that 12-day fast, my lawyer, I hit my knees when he goes in there to talk. My lawyer comes in there. He's a Jewish guy, Michael Becker. I love to death. I love him to death. Thank you, bro. He do save me, right? High profile attorney. He's represented a lot of big people, right? Comes in there. He's pale white. He says, bro, and I got my little Bible that I got from homie, because I always took it with me to court, holding it. That's my sword. He says, I've been doing this 30 years. And I never seen the dust settle like this. It was like my 6th or 7th month of being locked up in the county. He said, voluntary manslaughter is coming up on the table already.
Wow.
Midterm.
Wow.
He said, I've been doing this for a long time. People fight cases like this for a year, 2 years, 3 years before this ever gets on the table, even when there's more evidence on their side than there is, because I had all this bad evidence on my side because there's video of this, right, incident. There's some video of what anyways. He said, I've never seen this. He said, I don't know what God you serve or who you've been praying to, whatever. I've never seen this. And it was after fasting for 12 days, no food. I fasted all throughout Thanksgiving. I started my fast. So that's the only, hey, look, that's the only time they give you they give you turkey during Thanksgiving, right? And I had to serve on Thanksgiving because the den was, and to just get out of the cell for a little bit, I went and served, and I got all this meat. We had all this extra meat. We bring it back, and I didn't eat none of that. And I stayed. And I didn't tell everybody. A few people caught on, so they started trying to do it because you're not supposed to even talk about your fast when you're deep into prayer like that. You can't wear it on your face. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to tell anybody. But after those 12 days, I got that, and that's when I knew I'm gonna make it home one day. I'm gonna make it. I got a date now, not officially, but I will make it home. And that's when I knew the Lord was like, man, this is real. This is real. The Lord is there for us, man. Like, and it's up to us to what we want to do with him. You know what I'm saying? How we want to serve him.
Is your calling to start this acting school you started, you think that was God in your mind too? Maybe kind of paying it back?
I think that, look, the business that I'm in is not as hard as people think it is. It's definitely not as easy it is as people think it is, right? But there's a process, and I feel like people that are serious, they don't have a lot of opportunities. Sometimes people can't afford school. It's hard to just pick up and move. I remember a dude asking me, hey man, we got this dude from Dubai, some big famous dude, he's bringing his son to LA, and he's a prince of a da-da-da, and they want to give me $10,000 to sit with this kid for 2 weeks and teach him everything I know about acting and the whole process. And I said, thank you, but no thank you. Very respectfully, like, what, my boy? And I needed some money at the time, right? I had just got out of prison, right? This was last year, right? And I'm like, no, thank you, but no thank you. I can't put a price on. I spent over 200 grand on rent here, maybe 300 grand. You look at 13 years of paying $3,000, you know what I'm saying? 3,200, 3,400, and it's rent,
the
right?
LA story, man.
Right? So that's
LA
just,
story, man.
so you talking about rent, right? And all the other stuff. Why would I give away everything to a dude that I have no idea for 10 grand?
Yeah.
So with this school, you can, if somebody really is interested, I'm willing to give you what I got and how I got there, if you're serious about it. And then we can build, because my dream is to have the school with the studio, with the spot to do the headshots. We make the score. We do the podcast. We got, we could get people bookings. We got all these things, right? Casting. All this could be done in one facility. And a lot of people that come from the streets like us, they don't have no way. So we give back, right? And we can change lives, because we're in a day and age with Instagram and these phones. People don't want to be lawyers and doctors. And when I grew up, people wanted to be a fireman still. I wanted to be the president of the United States. I wanted to be a scientist and make the cure for AIDS. This is real, right? On top of being an athlete, those were, okay, if I wasn't going to be a professional athlete, it was going to be this. And then, of course, all that changed when I got into the streets, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't hear that no more. Everybody just wants to be a streamer or YouTuber or an actor. So there's a lot of people in this field. And now, Tubi and all these things, there's a lot of crappy movies, bro, because nobody cares about the quality of work no more. They just want to be famous. So I want to have a facility to where not only can I give back and help people with that process, but don't give me a job because I'm Mexican. Give me a job because I'm the best actor.
It's about the craft.
Right. I don't want none of my writers in the room because you have to hit a quota and you got to have a Jewish black guy and you got to do this. No, I don't want any of those jobs. I want people to understand, let's be the best at what we do. Let's take it serious and let's bring the love and our hearts back to acting. And if we can make some money from it, cool. The accolades are great, right? But let's not get into that. I want to get back into that core of art. Go to the UK, Europe. People get mad. They're taking all our jobs over there. They still care about it. They care about theater.
Yeah.
They're classically trained. You know what I'm saying? They got everybody. Look, they think they could be a comedian like you because look how long you've been doing this.
Yeah.
You come from a family of people that's been doing,
Yeah.
right? So look, everybody. So we got to get back into being in love with what we do, passionate about what we do. If I can open up a school to show that, people can see my struggle, see that I can change my life, they can change their life. And then most importantly, if we can incorporate God into it, with that, right? Because people are afraid. They take religion out of school now. They're afraid to talk about God. They're afraid. I say, God bless you to everybody I talk to.
Yeah.
People look at me. I was in prison and in jail. The homies used to be like, hey, bro, you can't be saying God bless you to the guards. You know what I mean? You can't be like, hey, with all due respect, man. You know what I'm
He
saying?
had a point. If God bless the guards too much, you're gonna have a tougher job. Y'all need you got
We bless everybody. I'll say it to everybody equally, though. You know what I mean?
Like you just bless the guards.
Our
curfew just got early.
well, that's a whole other conversation. But the crazy thing is because I know the Bible talks about lifestyle and same sex and stuff like that. But I when you was talking about him, I never not believed in God. Right? But I was angry with the God that I thought I was supposed to believe in.
Yeah.
And the reason why I argue with people about that commandment or things, because the way I live my life and the way God has taken care of me,
Yeah.
You can't tell me he doesn't love me. And whatever I'm doing wrong, I will have to face him in it. And I think that's why it's such a hard time to talk about religion, because people use that without looking at their lives.
Listen, let God fight that battle for you.
Yeah.
Take it off your shoulders, because you're never going to win that.
Yeah.
Right? And listen, I'm hitting a pin right now. You know what I'm saying? Right? We deal with what we deal with, but let God fight that battle for you.
Yeah.
Give it to him. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry. Nobody can judge you.
Yeah.
Right? It don't matter what I say.
Yeah.
Right? It don't matter. It don't matter what I say. I look at my situation with God, right? I always had this relationship with God because I've known the word. I started off as a Catholic. I became a Christian, right? When I really got into the word, I started off as a Catholic. And so I always had this thing where when I would make music, I wrote records for the Lord and I never put them out. I only put one out called Demon Slayer, where I really, you know what I'm saying? And I have a lot of records I wrote for God. But I always thought, okay, because I live this life, I can't really, go around talking about God because this and that. So look, the book of Jonah, right? Tarshish, Nineveh, right? So what we want, God will sit you down sometimes in the most weirdest ways. What we want sometimes ain't what he wants for us. So certain things will happen in our life. Okay, I had all this going on for this movies. I had all this going on with the money, with the shows I'm booking, but I still wasn't giving him all the glory.
Yeah.
I still was working too hard instead of taking my family to church on Sundays. All right, I got to work today. You know what I'm saying? Here's some money, baby. Go take them to church. Go eat afterwards. Put some money, pay some tithes. And I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing, right? But the Bible teaches us, because I felt like if I didn't work, I got to provide for my family. He provides for the birds, right?
Yeah.
Why not us? So the book of Jonah. So he sat me down. I lost everything, right? What's my Tarshish? He calls me to go to Nineveh, right? The Lord needed me at this moment to reach these men that I did in there, right? He needed to get me away from these things, my flesh, these things that I was putting before him, the things that I really worship, which was my career, which was even my family over him, even my time over him, my money over him. I was saying all this stuff, right? But at the end of the day, what are you showing? So those things, you can't be too hard on yourself. It's not my place or anybody else. It's the relationship you have with God. He's going to talk to you one day about it, and he's going to fight the battle for you. Yeah. And he's going to put whatever conviction in your heart that you have or you don't have. So that's something that you can't worry about. You know what I'm saying? Live your life. I'm not telling you it's okay to sin. I'm not telling you it's not okay. I'm not telling you what you're doing is a sin. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is don't let that stop you from having a relationship with God. Yeah. Right? It's okay to be mad at him. People say you can't be mad at God, right? Job used to, come on, Lord. He used to talk to God all the time. His wife was getting him, cursed him. He didn't curse him. Yeah. Right? But don't let what you're doing stop you from having a relationship with him. Yeah. Because you're going to miss out. You know what I'm saying? And There's moments where whatever needs to be in your heart or whatever you need to be doing, he's going to put that there as long as you keep a connection and a relationship. And people around you will understand or they won't. Look, they didn't understand Jesus.
Yeah.
They killed them. They killed Jesus. Who are we?
Real talk.
We never going to be able to impress. Look what they did to Jesus.
Yeah.
Sold him out. Who are we?
I can't make this up. The other day, I was driving to the Grove, and I see a car to my left. This dude falls asleep behind the wheel, and then veers into the other lane, smashes into another car. His car ricochets into the CBS lot, hits a curb, car flies in the air, turns, smashes straight into the wall, and lands upside down. And I'm like, oh man, this dude just died in front of me.
Yeah.
He's dead. I'd already counted him out.
Yeah.
And I ran out of the car. I'm like, well, I gotta get this body out this car.
Yeah.
Run up to the car, and people are telling me don't go near the car because they don't know if it's gonna, be on fire, explode, smoking a little. And I go to the driver's side, and I'm pulling, get the door open. I look in, the dude's not in the car. I was like, what the? I walk to the other side of the car, and I see this dude. He was the shape of a pencil. He was the skinniest dude in the world. And he was just standing there like, huh? Just looking at me like, huh? And I'm like, oh my God. Like this, I doubted God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me thinking he was dead,
Yeah.
I was doubting God.
Yeah.
And we doubt God in many instances if we feel like we're living our lifestyle way we shouldn't live because what people will say.
Yeah.
Like the example you gave, Shantae. My answer back to you is the same thing that Lee Coc just pointed out. It's like, who are we to doubt God? And who are we also to let people dictate what God wants, including others and ourselves?
Right.
Yeah.
And what I had to come to terms with is I was just trying to outsmart God. I was trying to say there's no way this dude lives and make that decision already.
Yeah.
Would y'all believe this guy didn't have a single scratch, not one scratch on his body? Not a scratch. Airbags deployed, everything.
Slid right out the window.
Cops came. He slithered, bro. He's a pencil. It's a pencil without the eraser.
Right.
He was just a perfect shape to be in that car because he was so skinny
Yeah.
and narrow that even when the airbags came, they didn't even smack him in the face. He was just perfectly in his chair. He's like, whoop, I'm gonna roll over, stood out, and the dude's talking to me about I need to go in the car and get my phone and tell my boss I'm late to work. I'm like, man, you got your life. You got your life. Who cares about your phone? He's like, well, my car. I'm like, who cares? I was like, do you understand?
Yeah.
I thought you was dead, man.
Yeah.
I thought you was dead, man. And I'm angry at him now, like for tricking me. And I had to go home, and I couldn't come to terms with what I saw. I couldn't speak. I couldn't speak for 4 hours. I couldn't say a single word. And I realized too that I had a lack of gratitude. Because when I was 11 years old, I was sitting in the car, didn't have a seatbelt on. I was a passenger. Truck came and hit us. I flew 15 feet out the window in the air, landed on my head, cracked open, was in a coma, helicoptered to a hospital.
Yeah.
And I realized, I'm there so grateful now. God gave this guy his life. And I said, am I that grateful for what God did for me? And it all comes down to, again, is eliminating the doubt.
Yeah.
Eliminating the doubt, and doubt comes in many forms. It comes through people projecting insecurities on you.
Yeah.
It comes through, hey, here's one small detail. We get lost in one small detail of whether it's the Torah, the Bible, these holy books. And we make that decision that we're breaking one rule.
Right.
So we're out.
Right.
And it don't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody breaks the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody breaks a different kind of rule. And the beautiful part about God is that door is always open for you.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to come to terms with. And hearing your story, Lee Coc, you didn't seem like you had doubt at all, my man.
Nah.
And that's inspiring to me because that shows, like, really, you said you're an alpha male. I like to call myself an alpha male. But I respect your alpha in the way of the form that your alpha comes with no doubt. And you not having the doubt, you coming in here saying, I don't have a plan B. I don't have a plan C. I'm committed to it. And you're really committed to it. And I actually believe that if Lee Coc's suffering, that if there's an easy solution from, he's not going to take it. He didn't take the rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah.
take my people's feta cheese in the salad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Can I
He
say,
didn't take the 10 bands from Dubai.
right?
Yeah.
I'd like to say my people's
Yeah.
10 bands, but I ain't Dubai. I ain't Dubai money. But what I love about you, man, and what is the lesson behind the lesson here is, run up the hill, because people want to run around the hill. You're running up the hill with no doubt. And if more people could receive that, all of these gifts you got in the party side of life wouldn't have existed without them hills.
Yeah.
And look, man, your character, I always say this, people like to emulate the end result and not the process. And if this was easy and there was a shortcut to this kind of work, right? Besides, making a fool of yourself, all three of us have seen situations where people can do things and get themselves in a room by, giving up who they are, right? And selling, I don't like to use the term selling their soul, but you know what I mean. So look, your character, if you really want to take your craft and hone it and master your craft, all this is in that process of running up the hill, the hard work. Look, I'm going to leave here, I'm exhausted. I'm going to leave here and I'm going to work on a play. There's people who are going to wait for me to work on a play that I'm putting up. I'm about to go rehearse for 3 hours. And I'm going to go home and I got to talk to one of my sons, my youngest son, because he got some stuff going on with football. I got to wake him up, talk to him. Then I got to go to sleep, take my dogs out, and then I got to wake up again and hit the gym at 5 a.m. But that's what builds the hard work, the work ethic. There's no easy road. It's what's going to separate you now, if you're not a gimmick, something that's going to last, is the work ethic. Everybody comes here to LA or moves to New York. I never lived there, but artists from all over the world, they feel entitled and they feel like they're owed what they call fame or this opportunity or this money that people are making, right? You're not owed none of that. And if you're going to try to get into this field, it's a very hard field. Have some purpose and cause, but work for it. Be the best at who you are. Be the best actor, because you get on a set with Clint Eastwood and you're not prepared to deal with an actor like that who is not going to say one thing that's on the script. Everything he said is going to be an ad lib based off of what the scene is about. So you're looking for a word to go for your turn because you've been studying the lines this way because you ain't putting no real work in.
Right.
You don't understand the scene. You haven't read the script. Anthony Hopkins reads the script like 100 times. If you don't read a script at least 20 or 30 times before you start to work on it, you won't understand it. And there's actors like Denzel. There's actors like, I've been around a few actors that if you don't know what's going on, you'll get lost in the scene and you'll stand there like an extra because you ain't going to know what's going on and they're not going to wait for you.
Yeah.
Right? So be the best at who you are. So the TV doesn't suck. Right now, anybody can make a show. And if you're a SAG actor, I'm with the union. Right? Look, shout out to independent filmmakers that are still trying to come up. Like, I'm not knocking a SAG ultra low budget film. But as an actor that works his tail off and somebody says, I got this great film I want you to be in. My budget's only like $3 million. They're spending all this money on, look, I'm not all about the money, but we still got to make a living. So you want me to work on your set for a SAG ultra low budget film that's $250 a day.
Yeah.
But if it was a big project, I'm making $5-10 a day, $3,000. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not about the money, but if the quality of work doesn't step up and we don't demand and expect more from ourselves, we'll drown ourselves out. Same with music. Like, shout out to Music Beat, the guy that we met who's invented this card that you can tap and artists can sell their music, sell CDs again, because we're getting pennies on the dollar for our streams already in music. Now actors going to be the same way. Like, they fought all this stuff. You know, there was an actor strike for a year, but because we're oversaturating the market with a bunch of crap, nobody wants to pay for it. And when you have a decent project, nobody really wants to pay because we can't trust it. And if you don't have a following, then we're going to hire this guy just because his following's big, but his acting sucks. We're killing ourselves. So let's get back to investing in our craft and in ourselves. That's why I don't just take any role anymore, because I don't need your typecast.
Yeah.
I'd rather make my own film than take 100 co-star roles as the gangster with tattoos that does the same thing over, because you can cover them up. And I'm classically trained, and I'm a Meisner based actor who's been trained in Meisner since 2014 with some of the best. James Caan, rest in peace. Carmen Eljano, rest in peace. James Franco, Jeff Goldblum, Matt Snyder. A lot of great acting coaches and teachers for me that I spent money on when I didn't have it, and I didn't, waste my money on alcohol and all these other things. I invested into my craft. I stayed here paying bills when it got tough and me and my ex-wife were fighting. I kept my family together. I did whatever I had to do to not go to jail, right? It's crazy because I ended up in jail anyway, but I had changed my whole life to do all these things because I was taking it serious. And I'm serious about wanting to keep your butt in the seat when you're watching my film or something that I'm a part of. Yeah. So let's get back into that mentality and put out good quality films and good music. So when I do music, I don't make music to be on the radio or to go tour. I make music because this is my heart, and I make music for film, and this is my life, and that's what I'm spitting, But with acting, I really only want to be in a project now that is worth it to me, that's going to show my chops, because I can do the tough guy thing by just sitting there and saying a few words. But I can also play the divorced dad, the veteran with PTSD, the undercover cop, the dude who transitioned from the streets to now being a family man.
Yeah.
I can play all these roles as well. You know what I'm saying? I can play the lover. I can play. So let's get back to that. You know what I mean? Let's not just take any job. Let's not go do the background work so we can be on Instagram for $100 all the time so we can be famous. Let's demand more from ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Dirt bag.
There's a common theme there with never selling yourself short. And this is why I love hustlers in the entertainment industry. Hustlers to me are the best artists because they're raw and real enough to dig deep into the craft.
Yeah.
And they're business savvy enough to survive in the industry. And a lot of the best artists I know and the best actors I know and even some of the best comics I know come from a hustling background.
Yeah.
And you bring that energy, look how fast you move compared to something like coming out of prison, bro.
Yeah.
Compared to somebody just born in California, growing up around all of it, having all the resources. Like you came in here hungry, you came in here, obviously God was a huge part of the equation, your ambition, but just your focus and your savvy in this.
Yeah.
Bringing that hustle into the game. Like what's if you had to give one piece of advice to artists out there who aren't business savvy, they ain't hustlers.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to an artist to navigate this wild industry? I won't say wild west, but all the studios going to the east now. It's wild industry.
My best advice would be to find a way, whether it's music or acting, whether it's fashion, whether it's hair, whatever for artists, right? Find something that's going to separate you from the pack, but that's not going to be a gimmick, right? A lot of people now are getting on, and I ain't knocking the gimmick. If you got to get on with the gimmick, get on with the gimmick. It just depends what you want out of it, right? For me, but I think if you find something that separates you from the pack, and when I say that, I'm going to say one thing that will separate you. Be a hard worker. Most people want it easy. Most people don't know the story behind whoever blew up on whatever TikTok or, LeBron James, the Drake. No, people put in work for a long time, right? Very few people, the hot tour girl, right? Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Few people blow up like that, right? But if you just master your craft and you work hard, you will automatically separate yourself from every other person that thinks they deserve it and thinks that it should be theirs already, because they'll notice you. When I go into auditions, back in the day before COVID happened, right? Now everything's self-tape. But back in the day, we went into the room, and I would walk in this room full of all these dudes from California that are in all the rappers, Noel G, the other actors. I love Noel. That's my brother. I'm not knocking them. And he doesn't do this, but other people. I would go in a room with all these actors, and they would have their lines in their hands. And to me, I was like, you lost already. You lost already. You still got your line. We heard about this shit a week ago, even if you heard about it yesterday, 2-3 days ago. And these are what y'all do this for a living. Yeah. I'm coming in your craft. None of them are in acting school. Most of them aren't in an acting school, right? None of them are reading plays. None of them are studying techniques. None of them are rehearsing out, outside. And so I was like, and look, I got love for all these dudes out here, but they'll tell you this dude just came here with a different swag, didn't know nobody. Next thing you know, he's in the mule, he's doing all these. And I started off doing a few videos, getting hired. I did the Kylie Jenner thing. But I went to an acting school, and look, I was a father. I had all these things going on, and I was tired, but I still went to that school 2 days a week. And then they let me go to 2 extra days a week. And then I started cleaning at the school so I could go every day. And I would show up at 2 in the morning and clean, and I'd be tired, and I would have all this stuff going on. My ex-wife would be calling me thinking I'm out with some broads, and I'm here pushing a mop, wiping the toilet seats down where people are shitting and pissing because I'm getting, my bills are so high that they're giving me a break on acting school. And I was doing it. And so put in the work. That's going to separate you. Find something that's going to separate you. Everybody's talented. Even if you're not talented, if you work hard enough, you can become it. 10,000 hours at anything, you become a master.
Yeah.
So put in the work. So master your craft and be a hard worker. When everyone else goes out, stay home. Work on, my friends would be going out, I'd be making music in the studio. I'd be reading plays, make music for them to go put in the car and check this out when y'all ride next time. You know what I mean? I'm waking up early. So that was the best advice that I could give anybody, is to separate yourself from the craft by outworking everybody. Be the hardest worker in the room.
Yeah.
That's golden advice. I remember I had an episphany. Shantae knows this friend of mine. I ain't going to say his name, Teron. He used to be in the clubs all the time when we moved to. Hey, shout out Teron for that, because half of my Hollywood connections are from promoting in the clubs here back when the clubs were popping.
Yeah.
I made a lot of connections, but at the same time, there was nights where I wasn't working and it was just a party. And I had this epiphany, and I told him this line one night. I said, "Hey, man, I just realized tonight." He said, "What?" I said, "We're at these tables, and back in the day, Hollywood parties were, it's like Rihanna right there, Chris Brown right there, whoever right there, celebrities were out, and you would just hang out with them."
Yeah.
But I had this epiphany. I said, "You know what? We're celebrating other people's success right now.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not celebrating our success. I haven't worked that hard yet. Chris Brown right there, Rihanna right there, whoever right there, they put in more hours than I did. That's why they're there. That's a fact." And I said, "You know what? I need to just be in the lab more." And I just started staying home more. Lost a lot of connects, because of that. But at the same time, it's like my craft just boomed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell my homies, like, let's be the reason why they party. Let's have the film. Let's have the music. I don't really want to be. I did all that when I was young.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And I just, look, shout out to, if you would like to party, I'm not knocking anybody. That's just not my thing, bro. You know what I mean? And I might, slide in for a second, but I stay away from that part of Hollywood, and I just like to create. And
Go to your release party. Go to your album premiere.
Yeah.
Go to your sold out tour.
I've been to a few of my first red carpet. So when I did the Mule, it was only big actors that got invited to Westwood to the big red carpet thing. I made such a connection with Clint. I can only call him Clint because of calling him Mr. Eastwood and him getting mad at me. So when I say that, I'm not saying that because I think I'm too cool. Trust me, this is out of his mouth. God damn it, if you call me Clint again, he used to get so mad. I mean, call me Mr. Eastwood again, or sir, call me Clint. He used to always tell me. So I got invited to the red carpet premiere. Me, and when Noel G found out about it, he was like, his agent hit, and so he got an invite too. My son, who now is one of the top ranked football players in the nation, it was his playoff game.
Mm.
And so I turned down going to my first premiere for the Mule, and I was on every look. When I booked that, I'm such a huge Clint Eastwood fan prior to me ever being. He's a musician, jazz artist. I love, one of my favorite movies, Heartbreak Ridge. All these, Unforgiven. I've been a Clint Eastwood fan since I was a kid, right? And so I couldn't miss a. Me and my son put in the work, right? We talk about the work ethic. That was a party moment. I had already achieved. Okay, cool. I'm in the movie. I'm in every trailer that they played during football season. I'm in all that, right? The playoffs. But my son, all the hard work that we put in, I had to teach him at a young age. I got your back, bro. This is more important. My ex-wife at the time didn't speak to me for 2 days. She was like, "How are we gonna not go?" This is important to him. And he lost. They lost the game. They lost the championship game. And she was like,
Oh, they
see,
lost. I was
hey,
like, good move. And he's like, they lost. I'm like, never mind. She wins the party.
hey, no, that's her. She was like, they lost anyway. But it was all right. It showed him
being there for your son when he lost.
Yeah.
Would be more important than if he won.
Yeah.
He had that confidence that, my pops got me.
Yeah.
And then the next day they had a cast and crew screening. There wasn't this big thing for the press and all that, but it was in Warner Brothers. I'm like, you know what? I'll go to that. But people thought I was a fool for turning that down, but it goes back to the work ethic and that moment for my son to see. I left the party's the party, bro. Now we here. They're going to be drinking there. It's going to be all this press going on. But we put in work all year for this moment. Let's stay focused on that. And so that's what I try to teach my kids, and that's what I want to bring back to this thing with this school, this whole thing we opening up. And I'm going to start off online with this great little thing, do subscriptions on my Instagram while we getting this facility together. And that's what we want to try to build back into anything when it comes to, your craft. Because you could do that at McDonald's. You don't got to be look, I got a homie that started off at Wendy's. He's flipping burgers. People make fun of him. He was a great athlete. Now he owns a couple Wendy's, and he's a millionaire.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can do. It doesn't matter what field you're in. You put the work in. You put the dedication. You put the time. You don't miss. And that's just like life. Period. Whatever you put into your relationship, your children, your craft, whatever you're doing in life, you know what I'm saying? And we got to bring that back. It ain't overnight easy. Like people want us to think that so that we're not all great. You know what I'm saying? It's better for them. It's better for the machine if we're not great. It's better for the machine if we struggle or if we fall into the trends and the vibes, because then we can't become we want to look, I'm not saying having money is the go all, right? Being your connection or your relationship with the Lord is better than any of that, because you can't take nothing with you. But we do want to set our children up with generational wealth. We do want to have things when we pass away that our kids can be okay, because there's a lot going on in the world, right? And so you have to, have a good work ethic to generate income, or have a product that you build truly that means something, that's going to last and that can continue to bless our family with whatever form of monetary, payment that they come out with. We lose the dollar, the coins, forever, right? So, let's do what we can by working hard.
Lee Coc, you've achieved so much. You're talking legacy, and I want to end it on legacy, right? What do you want your legacy to be at the end of your career?
I think for me is I never quit. I never gave up. I gave my heart to help people. I want to see the best in people, right? I've had people. We come from the streets where people are broken, busted. I grew up around dope dealers, pimps, prostitutes, killers, drug addicts. You know what I'm saying? And the have-nots, right? People that I know some of the best athletes in the world that I played ball with, but selling crack was a sport too, right? And so I want people to know that we can make it out of nothing and we can be successful. But most important, I think, is I want to change what's going on in the world with this division. We've allowed politics and whatever political party, whether it's law and order or not, we let the media, we let all these people cause this division in a great country. America is an amazing country. I love my country. I'm a real patriot. I love my flag. I don't put up for nobody disrespecting no flags. So I'm sorry if that hurts anybody's feelings, but I love this country. And it's one of the only countries where you can be nothing and become a Jay-Z. You can be nothing and become a LeBron James, a Big Venti, a Shantae. We come from a struggle, right? Not everybody. There's a lot of countries. I've been to countries where that's not possible. You can come from nothing here. And so we have so much hate that shouldn't be. We got to start uniting, no matter what your creed, your race, your political views. We still got to work together. Back in the day when I grew up, a Republican and a Democrat could vote different but still hang out together, could go to lunch. Now, if this guy likes Trump, I hate him. If this guy likes Biden, I hate him. If this is a liberal. And so we see so much in the media now. There's so much hate that I want to figure out a way to unite the people again. And if it's bringing them to God, or if it's my art, showing my hard work that I never quit, I never cursed the Lord, like, I always wanted God to know that, hey man, no matter what, I appreciate you and I love you, right? And so I'm gonna always continue to get better, and I just want to be able to touch lives to help people, whether it's spiritually, mentally, financially, give them a craft, help them in this business that I'm in, help them put some good art together, and find a genuine connection and show people that we can work together, right? And it doesn't matter what we believe. And so with hard work and overcoming any kind of obstacles, educating ourselves properly, not what's given to us by social media, not what's given to us by this biased media outlet that only has this political agenda in mind, not by this supposed to be this belief, but by a connection you have. You're either good or you're bad. I don't believe in all that racist stuff. I don't believe in all that. You're either a good person or a bad person. So with my legacy, let me just show you that throughout the times that I've been a bad person, I meant good. I got better, right? I overcame a lot of bad situations, and I believed in bad people when they didn't believe in themselves, because we can all change, right? I have a tattoo on my back. It says every saint, basically every saint is a sinner. Every saint has a future. I mean, every saint has a past. Every sinner has a future, right? So, like, we could all change, right? So if we get back to believing in each other, stop fighting each other, right? Stop letting the media control us. We get back to working hard on what we do as artists, things will get better, right? You don't have to be somebody that goes to and protest. You can protest with your art, right? You don't got to go cause destruction and get everybody to go riot and throw rocks and go crazy because you don't like something based on how your votes are, you know what I'm saying, or how you vote. We encouraged people during COVID. There was artists encouraging people to go tear up people's businesses, right? And I'll bail you out, and you getting people in trouble for the rest of their life. Why would we ever have to encourage that? You know what I'm saying? Gandhi defeated the British Empire without ever picking up a stone. Never picked up a rock, a stone. He defeated the British Empire, the whole British Empire. And we lost that, and he died shortly after. And you lose track of men like that. And what we, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And so, and he wasn't a Christian, but I got mad love for Gandhi. You know what I'm saying? And I got, and so, and look what he did. And so, let's remember that, man. And so let's lead with love and let's work hard, man. And let's be good to each other. There's times where we all make mistakes, man. Everybody's not going to walk around this happy-go-lucky camper like, hey, how you doing, bud? Right? We're going to have moments, but we learn from these moments. We learn from this. We continue to get better. We put out good art. We unite people through our art. You got 3 different races sitting in the room, a couple different races working back there, right? Just on this podcast. Different people are going to listen. We create a good song. People can dance together, every race, every religious view, whatever. If it sounds good, a good movie, people can sit down and watch, right? So that's a start right there. And to be able to put out good products, to be able to do that, you got to work hard. So my legacy is just to, let's work hard and let's be good to each other, right? And let's always be the hardest worker in the room. And let's make sure we're in touch with God. Most important, whatever your higher power is. You know what I mean? I think those are important things to remember and bring back to the world. You know what I mean? The connection we have with each other and with the Lord, and we make mistakes, but art and hard work, man, be the hardest worker in the room. You know what I mean? And life gets tough. You know, you're gonna get through. If it was easy, everybody could do it.
Yeah.
So be strong, man. Right now, we live in a society where everybody looks for a reason to call themselves oppressed. I'm oppressed because this, I'm that. Life isn't fair. Let's get back to just working for whatever nothing is owed to us. Nothing is owed to us. So that's kind of my thing, man. I believe in hard work, you know?
That's powerful, man. And you believing in hard work makes sense because I see that Kobe on your profile pic on Instagram, that Mamba mentality.
That's right. Man.
How do people find you on the gram, Lee Coc?
It's Lee Coc. Everything except for TikTok. My whole thing is Lee Coc, LEECOC. The only thing is different is my TikTok is Holder of the Light. And then you can search my music, Lee Coc, LEE-COC, Holder of the Light, in quotations, and that's on any streaming service. I just released a new album called Psalms 86:17, and I released a new EP called Hermanos back in December, and I'm working on a new project now.
Dope.
So-
And acting school's around the corner. You pick a date
Yeah, so
for it
right
yet?
now, if anybody wants to come join me on Monday nights, I'm going to Lola, which one of my mentors and my acting coach, his name is Brian Lally. Him and his son have an acting school in Burbank. So that's where I go. That's my gym. So y'all want to come work out with me in the gym? Let's come shoot shots in the gym. Come Mondays, Lola's. Get with Brian. You can find him, Lola's Acting School on Instagram. Brian Lally. He's amazing, man. Big shout out to Brian, to Matthew Snyder, and all the great Robin Cohn and some of the great people that continue to help me and work with me. David Garrett. There's a lot of great people that I have in my corner. My agent Gary, man, I love you. Michael as well. And so I got a great team around me. Joe Fox, one of my managers, he's amazing. Shout him out. And all my people, man, and my kids and my family. But yeah, come to Lola's, man. If you guys love acting, come train with us there. I got a play I'm putting up. We got a scene night coming up in March. So stay in touch with my Instagram and my Facebook and all that to get the details about the scene night. I hope you guys are going to come. It's going to be great.
We'll be there
and then
for sure.
I'm going to be putting up a big play in LA too. So we're going to work on casting the play after we do the scene night. So we got some stuff going and booked a couple of films. I just did a film with Adrian Griner. He's Vinny Chase from Entourage. David Garrett. Shout out to Vince and David for putting me on that film. And I'm also doing Creeps of the Worst Kind right now, finishing that film up. Shout out to Adam W. for putting me on with the skits, my boy Scar, and some other things we got going on. And both of y'all, man, you guys are amazing. Your work is amazing.
Big
And so I'm
love
great
to
to
you,
be
man.
here, man.
And I know we're going to be collabing in the future
sure.
already.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I wanted to thank you for coming on the podcast, but instead, I got to thank this man for giving us a master class on life.
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Shantae, we started this year with a bang, just like we said we
Yeah,
would.
man.
What you got around the corner, Shantae?
Hey, just come find me on tour. Selective Sin Comedy Tour 2026. We're doing a special this year. Find me, tour date, cwaynes.com, and everywhere on social media, cwaynes.
You hear that? Selective Sin, very on brand with our podcast today.
Yes.
And me, on my end, I think I'm finally going to drop this La Russell record. Maybe next month. I've been holding on to it, but I think that's going to be a big impact on the scene with that song. Not because of what I did, because of what he did. It was just absolutely incredible, like top tier lyricism. And I shared my truth. I actually shared the story I told y'all earlier about the car accident. So it's kind of, for me, it's the more important part for me is not the song blowing up, but circling back to my truth and being authentic in my music. And for him, it's just high tier rapping. So shout out La Russell. He's actually going to have a performance at the Super Bowl too, one of them parties. So, keep it up, man. And Shantae, this is just always a pleasure sitting across from you on Party Hills podcast.
Same, brother. You always bring amazing guests, so thank you for including me in this.
Incredible. Everybody watching, check us out, Party Hills podcast on all platforms. And just let us know if you have somebody who you really would like to see on the show. Let us know. We got to get through Shantae, so they better be good.
Hey.
Peace.
Thank you, man. God bless y'all, man.
God bless you. I say that without fear. God bless you.
That's right. That's right,
Brother.
brother.